अस्सलामुअलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। In this video, I am going to discuss with you about one of the most beautiful poems from Flamingo textbook. The title of the poem is A Thing of Beauty, written by John Keats, one of the greatest, versatile and very popular, very famous poet in the history of English literature, known as romantic poet. As William Wordsworth is known as a poet of nature, in the same way John Keats is known as romantic poet. So I am going to discuss about this poem. I would request all the students to have the textbook in your hand so you can understand well. I am reading from page number 98. Fourth poem, then after we will have only last poem left, that is Roadside Stand, has already been deleted by CBSE board. Aunt Jennifer's Tiger, which we will finish inshallah in the very next video. So I would request all the students to have the textbook in your hand so you can understand well. I am reading from page number 98. Before I read this poem, let me tell you about the poet. John Keats was born in London in the year 1795, yes, and died in Rome in 1821 at the young age of 25 due to illness. There are three poets in the history of English literature who are known as who died at very early age: John Byron, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and John Keats. He died at the age of 25 only, right, due to illness. He is romantic poet and his poetry is characterized by sensual imagery in his most popular work, which is series of odes, a lyrical poem which is meant for a particular subject that I will discuss it when we will meet it, but this is only for your GK, general knowledge only. It is not going to be asked in exam about John Keats right, so it is only for your general knowledge. Today his poems are one of the most sought after creation in English literature. People are actually fond of reading his poems. The above given poetry is an excerpt from his poem Endymion. Endymion, a group of collection of there is a great poet, he has written Endymion, and from that it has been taken. A poetic romance 1818, that's considered to be an epic poem, this great poem. Now let me tell you the background of the poem. This will not be asked in the exam that talk about the background of the poem. It is only for your general knowledge. Based on Greek mythology, as this poet was full of he writes his poem with full of imagination. So based on Greek mythology about shepherd named Endymion, his quest for his love Diana, and how in his quest, in his search, he falls in love with an earthly maiden who later turned out to be a Diana herself. This is the background of the poem, which is nothing to do with the poem. It's only for your general knowledge, right? In board exam, you will be asked about the poem, not the background of the poem and not about the poet. So you have to keep in mind all this. Think of beauty, joy forever. Let me tell you the summary of this poem so you can understand well. This is my way of teaching. I always share the summary of the poem or summary of the lesson before teaching so the student can understand well. Even in the class, you know it well. The summary of the poem, Thing of Beauty, let's see. A Thing of Beauty is a poem taken from the poem titled Endymion, a poetic romance written by the famous poet John Keats. The poet says that a beautiful thing is a source of endless joy. That's why in the very first line he says that a thing of beauty, joy forever. Seeing the beautiful things, the joy that we get, right? It's a forever. It is not transitory. It is not for a short time. The joy that we get seeing the beautiful thing is a joy forever. It is everlasting, right? That's only. It has eternal beauty. Which never fades away. A beautiful thing is like a shady shelter which give us sleep full of sweet dreams, good health and relaxation. Once we sleep under the tree, under the shady tree, we do get peace of mind, we do get a peaceful sleep, and along with the peaceful sleep, we also do get peaceful dreams, beautiful dreams, right? And we once we get a peaceful sleep, we also become very healthy. Our attachment to the earthly things are like a flowery wreath, that's there are traps which bind us to the materialist thing. There are some traps in the world which bind us to the materialist things and keep us away from eternal happiness. The earth is full of hatred, greed and negativity. According to the poet, the glooms and sadness caused by the negativity fades away with the positive vibes of the beautiful things that surround us. And he is right over here that we human beings living this life on this earth are doing directly, indirectly, knowingly, unknowingly, right? We are doing some bad work sometimes, right? By our eyes, by our hands, by our mouths, by our legs. And when we commit bad deeds, when we start doing bad works, that surround us, that trap us. And once we get trapped in this bad trap, in this vicious cycle of bad works or bad habits, it make us sad, it make our life terrible, it make our life horrible, it make our life sad, and we start living a life full of sorrow and sadness. So the John Keats is saying that once we get trapped in such a vicious cycle of bad works, right? When we do have shortage of good works, when we do have shortage of good works, and when we start doing bad works, that make our life very miserable. But he says that think of beauty, joy forever. But there are some beautiful things, natural beautiful things like a sun, moon, natural scenery, trees. These bring joy in our life. It make our sorrow disappear from our life. And once we enjoy these beautiful things, we forget our sorrow, and it bring a joy, and that joy lasts long forever. Right? That's our attachment to the earthly things are like a flowery wreath. There are traps bind us to the material things and keep us away from eternal happiness. The earth is full of hatred, greed and negativity. According to the poet, the gloom and sadness caused by this negativity fade away with the positive vibes of the beautiful things that surround us. The poet lists out some of the beautiful things that surround us, as saying goes, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. He says that the numerous creation of God, like the sun, which give us energy, the moon's beauty, the trees which give us shade, are the natural beauties around us. The various animals like the sheep that surround us make our world lively. The pretty flowers like daffodils make the world green and lively. The flowing stream of water cool refresh us in the hot summer season. The forests which are full of pretty musk rose flowers are beautiful sights to the eyes. All these are the things of beauty. Also, the stories of the brave soldiers who laid their lives to protect their people are beautiful and inspiring. These beautiful things are like a fountain of immortality bestowed upon us by God. They inspire us to live on and maintain of our faith in goodness. So, this is the summary of the poem. In the beginning it is about the beautiful things, in the middle also beautiful, in the last stanza of the poem it talks about even the noble deeds or the great work, heroic deeds done by our ancestors are also beautiful things, because it inspires us, it motivates us, right? So this is only the brief summary of this poem. Now let me explain you the stanza wise, so you will be able to understand it well. Let's see. I would request all the students to have the textbook in your hand so you can understand it well. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Yeah, the joy that we get seeing beautiful thing, that joy is forever. It is not transitory, it is not for a short time, it is not, but it is forever, it is eternal. The joy that lasts long forever, it is, the joy is immortal, I would say. Joy forever. Its loveliness increases, it will never pass into nothingness. Its loveliness increasing, the joy keep on increasing, right? Slowly increasing, it will never pass into nothingness, and it will never pass into nothingness. It will never have nothingness, but that joy will continue forever, right? But will keep, and he is giving an example to make us understand how. But will keep a bower quiet for us and sleep full of sweet dreams. He is giving an example of one beautiful things. And what is that example? Bower, shady place, shadow under the tree. These beautiful things like a shady place under the tree, and sleep full of sweet dreams. Once we take shelter under the tree, we do get very peaceful and sound sleep under the shadow of the tree. And once we get a sound sleep under the tree, under the shadow, we do get dreams, and the dreams are also very sweet. And as a result, once we do have sound sleep, once we do have peaceful sleep, once we do have sweet dreams, we become very healthy. Obviously, if you do have a beautiful dream, if you do have a sound sleep, if you do have profound sleep, our body will become very healthy and quiet breathing, and will be once we get shelter under the tree, shady place, we will have a beautiful breathing also, quiet breathing also. Let me explain in nutshell. The poet says that beauty stay forever, it's never fade away. Beauty, the poet says, the beauty stay forever, it's never fade away. And the joy that we get seeing the beauty is also last long forever. Rather, it increases with the passing time. The persistence of the poet regarding beauty is that it never goes off with the passing time. Rather, it's beautify more and more. For the poet, beauty is like a beautiful shady tree under whose shade all the creature can sleep peacefully and enjoy good health. This is the explanation. The rhyming scheme that is the used by the poet in the very first stanza is this: forever a, never, forever ever. Both are matching. So a, keep and sleep, b. So a, b. This is the rhyming scheme used by the poet. Let's read. I am sure that you must have understood the first stanza of the poem. It talks about beautiful things, a thing of beauty, joy forever. Seeing the beautiful, we do get permanent joy, and that joy lasts long forever, right? And beautiful things never pass into the nothingness. It is always bring fruitful result. It always make us happy. It always bring joy in our life. And he give an example of a shady place, by which we get a profound sleep and sweet dreams, and it make us healthy. I already explained you twice. Let's go to the next stanza of the poem so you can understand it well. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth. Therefore, on every morrow means morning. And because of this, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth. The poet is saying that when we get up early in the morning after a profound sleep, what we are doing? We are wreathing a flowery band. We make a garland, right? We make a garland. That's by wreathing. We make a garland, flowery band, and by doing this, it binds us to the earth. We are very much, we do have that much attachment with the earth by doing this, and we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth. And by doing this way, we become very we are very attached to the earth. spite of despondence, of inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and all our darkness way, made for our searching, yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. Let me explain you. In spite of despondence, of inhuman dearth of noble natures. Noble nature is an alliteration. Noble nature. Noble nature and of all unhealthy. If you just see the two lines, it is of. The poetic device used by the poet is anaphora, right? Because of is repeated. Something is repeated in the beginning of the line is called anaphora. So here bent to bind is also, we can consider it alliteration, right? Now let me explain you in nutshell. Spite of despondence of inhuman dirt of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all unhealthy, all our darkness ways, made for our searching, yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirit. The poet is saying that there is a shortage of inhuman dearth of noble natures. We don't have that much good deeds in our accounts, and as a result, we do have a very bad work. We do have a bad works in our life. The inhuman dearth of noble natures, right? In spite of despondence, and as a result, once we start doing bad works, once we start doing bad works, and because of shortage of noble works in our life, it brings a sorrow, it brings a sadness, it brings despondence in our life, right? And we become our days of our life are full of glooms, right? Of noble nature, of gloomy days, and we do have gloomy days in our life because of our bad deeds. Of all unhealthy and all our darkness ways, when we and because of our living, as we start living our life in such an unhealthy way, we become very unhappy, we become very sad, and as a result our life become very miserable. But what the poet is saying over here, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. Pall means kafan, shrouds, right? But these beautiful things like the sun, moon, trees, a stream of water, flower, daffodils, all these beautiful things remove the darkness that prevail in our life, remove the darkness that exists in our life, remove the darkness that exists because of our bad deeds. This beautiful thing remove all these darkness in our life and bring joy in our lives. That's our call from our dark spirits. Let me explain in nutshell so you can understand well. The poet says that every day it is the beauty which fills us with the spirit to live. The poet says that every day it is the beauty which fills us with the spirit to live. It is the beauty which builds us the desire in us to live, though there are sad moments and cruel people around us. So here the poet wants to say that without beauty the earth will be full of cruel people, sad and gloomy moments. It is the beauty which is created by God which helps us to remove the sadness from our hearts. So sometimes we become very unhappy, very sorrowful. We start living a life very with full of sorrow because of our bad deeds. But when we are surrounded by this sorrowful condition, when we see these beautiful things like the sun, moon, it remove the darkness of sorrow from our life and make us happy. I will inshallah, because it become almost 20 minutes have passed, so I will discuss the third stanza of this poem inshallah later on in the very next video. If you have any query, question, feel free to write in the comment box, right? Meanwhile, I would request all the students to read this poem twice so you can understand it well. Allah Hafiz.